My name is Dinush and welcome to my channel. And my passion is to see professionals grow in their careers. 15 years experience in corporate life, working with global industry. The reason why I started this channel, to help young professionals grow in their career by giving them career coaching. For beautiful videos almost every week, giving you valuable information and knowledge about how to solve problems in your careers and in your organizations. And feel free to ask questions in comments. I might be able to help you in replying to those comments. If you have a problem, just ask. I'll try my best to give you an answer. Right here behind the iconic Marvel Stadium and in front of the Docklands in Melbourne. Let's discuss today, why does the hardest working employee in the room doesn't get promoted to a leadership role? Let's talk about it. Today we are right here at the beautiful Melbourne, the Docklands. There are three main reasons why hardworking professionals don't grow. Number one is strategic thinking versus effort. You might be giving a huge effort, you might be working really hard, but if your thinking is not really strategic, you might be losing out on gaining that recognition from your leadership. If you are a planning person, I remember once I knew a planning person who was really working hard. He was really working hard and he was achieving lots of good results, but he wasn't promoted for more than 5 years. The simple reason was that he wasn't able to bring in transformation or bringing strategic thinking into his role. That kind of a strategic thinking discussions were not visible in him, so that puts him down against people who might have been not really working hard, but who were able to bring in lots of strategic decisions, bring in lots of transformation. He was not recognized as a person who was bringing that kind of an effort. There was for an example, let's think of, you are a planning person and you are in a situation where there's a global crisis. One person A, might be working really hard to maneuver through that global crisis, right? Person A might be coming to work early in the morning, 7 o'clock, and trying to manage all the schedules, trying to make sure that the shipments take place while the global crisis is going on, and then eventually go home at night, 8, 9, until then he might be working out. Then there's another person B, who might think a bit smarter, a bit strategically, making sure that he develops an innovative system. If the shipments are being affected due to a global crisis, he might develop a tracking tool by collaborating with the IT teams, making sure that shipping lines give them continuous feedback. That helps your leadership to get awareness, get the feedback, what's going on, rather than, so they prefer that kind of an effort in comparison to somebody who's working really hard. That immediately brings attention to leadership. Even though person B is not working hard, he's working really smart and he's bringing lots of strategic decision making and he's bringing in transformation to maneuver through that difficult period of a global crisis. So strategic thinking versus effort is the number one reason why you are missing out on getting recognition and getting promotion in your role. Number two is influencing power. how much of a power you have to make sure you influence people. I have seen lots of times very talented people missing out on opportunities, facing interviews because they don't have the influencing power. They might be very good at their role, but in terms of influencing people is where they are missing out. If you don't know how to influence people, you are not going to grow as a leader, and your HR or your supervisors might not recognize you as a person who could lead a team. Learn to influence. It's a different skill altogether. There are different ways to influence people. Some of the common ways are for you to give them something that is appealing to them, making sure you get the awareness into them, showing them that how much that a particular change will help them in their role. If you help them understand that, people will anyways follow you. For an example, if you want to bring in a new system in the organization and you want to influence people to make sure they are with you in that implementation, what best way to do that is to make sure you give them kind of an awareness. If you bring this system in place, how much will it help you? How much will it help that person in their role? That's one way. Now, for an example, I had to implement a major change where I was in a supply chain role, and I had to influence my planning team to provide me with the demand plan. And that brings an additional effort, brings an additional work into their life, but doing that work will help me to make sure I manage the suppliers properly and the delivery failures won't occur as frequent as it used to. And with that improvement, the planners' lives will get much easier going forward. So when I show that benefit on the table and saying that eventually once you implement this, your life is going to be much easier, they really loved it and they accepted it. So influencing power is a completely different art altogether. And you might need to know how to influence your subordinates as well, to make sure you give them recognition. Sometimes giving recognition to a person automatically gives motivation to that person to do something. That's an influencing skill as well. It's not always about blasting somebody, gaining authority through your tone, talking loud and talking in harsh words is not the way to influence. It's different. Knowing somebody's psychology and getting to the sweet spot of somebody is a different skill, and you might need to spend some time to learn that. Also, it's not a bad idea if you can have a coach in your life who can help you to gain influencing powers. Different art altogether, different skill altogether, but very important if you want to gain a leadership role. Beautiful evening here in Melbourne, titled as the best city in the world recently. So number 3, to make sure you gain a leadership role, number 3 is make sure you gain the recognition. Some hardworking employees don't know how to gain recognition into their work. They just work from morning to night. They work only, making sure everything happens perfectly. But they forget to understand how important it is to make sure you keep the necessary stakeholders updated about the work that you are doing. Absolutely important. I'll give you an example. There was once a person I knew. He actually implemented a major transformation in something that he did. He was actually in marketing, and he brought in a major customer account by giving them solutions, giving them a kind of a business model. But eventually, a business analyst who was able to analyze what P&L impact that particular business account will bring into the company in future was able to go and present that scenario to the CEO, and he eventually gained the recognition. So majority of the work was done by somebody else, but someone else kept a key stakeholder updated about it, and then eventually he gained the recognition. So even though no matter what beautiful work you do, if you don't keep important stakeholders updated, if you might miss out on gaining that leadership recognition, and that will cause you missing out on growing opportunities, missing out on making sure you get the relevant promotions in the organization that you deserve. So focus on that, guys. Very important. If you can't keep the relevant stakeholders updated about the work that you're doing, you might miss out on gaining recognition, and eventually you will miss out in gaining the necessary promotions to go to the leadership level. So what are the three things that we discussed? Number one is strategic thinking versus effort. Number two is your power of influencing. You must make sure that you are capable of influencing people. If not, you might not be recognized as a leader who can roll out changes in an organization. Remember, organizations prefer people who can bring in changes, who can bring in transformation. In order for you to do that, you must know how to influence people. Number three is silent work versus recognition. Keeping the relevant stakeholders updated about the work that you're doing is critical. Do not forget that. So guys, three important things which I wanted to share with you. You might be a very hard-working person at work, but you might still miss out on certain promotions and still might not be in a leadership position. The reason might be one of these things which I told you. One of these three things which I told you. Life at corporate is not as complex as some people think. I mean, I just talked about three things here, right? If you focus on those three things, you might be able to make sure you gain a leadership position and make sure you might get into a promotion, maybe next year or year after. Be patient and think of these things. Always bring in simplicity in terms of understanding why a certain thing is not working out for you. The answer might be a pretty simple one, right? So I hope you learned something important today and wish you all the best in gaining that very important recognition in your workplace to get promoted. Signing off from Melbourne, Docklands.